Welcome back. I'd like for the next couple of minutes to think together about some key themes. As we read through Job and Proverbs and Ecclesiastes in particular, I think you can't escape the impression that these texts seem to touch on hundreds of issues that we face in day-to-day living, because they do. But some of these issues seem to pop up again and again. They would include theodicy. Both Job and Ecclesiastes in particular wrestle with the issues of pain and suffering set against the claims of God's righteousness and justice. You've heard of the problem. If God were good, He'd wish to make His creatures perfectly happy. And if God were almighty, He'd be able to do what He wished. But His creatures aren't happy. Therefore, God lacks either goodness or power or both. We refer to this as the problem of theodicy. And Job and his friends wrestle with this one big time. Another theme is divine retribution. See, theodicy is linked to the principle of retribution, that one gets what's coming to them. It's an idea that's grounded in the covenant blessings and cursings back in Deuteronomy 27:28. So the syllogism would go something like this. If a person were righteous, he or she will flourish. Person X is not flourishing, therefore person X must not be righteous. You can run that through the ringer backwards. If a person's evil, he or she will not flourish. Person Y is flourishing, therefore person Y must be righteous. Sound reasonable? Sure. So, how do I handle it when I see an evil person flourishing, or when I observe a righteous person suffering? I mean, does God care? And if He doesn't care, is God good? Or if He cares, but He can't do anything about it, is He God? So, we'll see Job and Psalms and Proverbs and Ecclesiastes taking up aspects both of theodicy and the principle of retribution from different angles. And then there's the theme of instruction. We've already touched on the theme that looms so large, especially in Proverbs, and how it's not merely theoretical opinion, but practical application to personal life, to family life, to community life, to work life, to financial life, to life and death. So let's shift gears now and survey the book of Job. What were your impressions of the book of Job? Were there any themes that began to take shape for you as you read through the book? What issues did it leave unresolved for you? You know, it seems that one of the indicators that this is a masterful piece of literature is the way that it stoked profound discussions of the relationship between God and humanity and of good and evil. This composition is really a case study in faith wrestling. I mean, struggling with the weighty issues of faith. The setting is Arabia, the land of Uz. It's during the patriarchal period. Job is a successful agribusinessman, and what transpires in this extended narrative poem? Well, the reader's introduced to Job, a man who's described as blameless and upright, fearing God, turning away from evil. I mean, you can't do much better than that. But the adversary, Hebrew Satan, Sin Tet Nun, the adversary, Satan, pops up from his global inspection tour and Yahweh asks him, "What do you think of my servant Job?" And you'll remember, Satan replies something to the effect that, Job's a goody two-shoes just because you pay him off, as it were. The adversary asserts that were it not for the abundance of blessings, Job would curse God to his face. So, unbeknown to Job, the Lord permits the adversary to test the locus of Job's faith. Was it in Yahweh or was it in the goodies? The only proviso was that the adversary couldn't lay a hand on Job himself. So, in the first chapter, Job loses everything. And yet, that was no reason to retract his faith in Yahweh. Remember? Naked came I from my mother's womb, and naked shall I return. The Lord gave, the Lord's taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. So, Satan ups the ante. He claims that the instinct of self-preservation will cause Job to turn against Yahweh. So, this time, the Lord allows the adversary to make Job himself ground zero of the testing. And in due course, Job, confused, hurt, he rues the day that he was born. He pushes back against God. This leaves Job's friends aghast, but not speechless. So, what develops in chapters 4 through 31 are 3 sets of dialogues between Job and his friends. We'll work through those dialogues when we get back together. So, in the meantime, see you in a bit.